Hi, it's me. You probably know me from another channel where we talk about everything from funny, relatable memes to existential dread. But here we're going to talk about prehistoric animals, things like the woolly mammoth and the saber-toothed tiger. These are animals that roamed the earth hundreds of thousands of years ago. But just how big were they? Well, today we're going to find out. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe, because it really does help us grow and it makes us feel good. Now let's get into it. Woolly mammoth. The woolly mammoth was one of the most iconic creatures to have ever lived on planet Earth. This mammal was famous for its large size, long tusks, and thick woolly coat. These huge mammals could be found in many places around the world, but they preferred cold climates with short grasses and shrubs such as steppes and tundra. Woolly mammoths had a lifespan of around 60 to 80 years and reached sexual maturity at around 12 or 13 years old. They had a gestation period of around 22 months, which is pretty similar to modern-day elephants. Although there were no direct descendants of woolly mammoths, their closest relatives are the Asian and African forest elephants. They also share common ancestry with the extinct steppe mammoth. Their scientific name is Mammuthus primigenius. Okay, so now we know what a woolly mammoth is and where it fits into the animal kingdom, but how big was this thing exactly? To understand the size of the woolly mammoth, you have to consider two main aspects: height and weight. It wasn't particularly tall, maybe standing at around 9 feet at the shoulder or around 3 meters if you prefer to measure in metric. However, its real impressiveness lay in its weight. It weighed somewhere between 6 tons and 12 tons. That's heavier than a blue whale. Wait a minute, blue whales can weigh up to 200 tons. Well, yeah, that's true, but they can also weigh less than 20 tons. So the point still stands. It's heavy. Now let's compare the woolly mammoth to something more relatable, like a car. To get an idea of the woolly mammoth's colossal proportions, imagine it standing next to a double-decker bus. The bus would appear quite petite in comparison. Or think of it trying to fit inside a standard parking garage. It wouldn't be able to fit. There wouldn't even be enough room for it to try. And don't even get started on fitting one in your bedroom. You'd need a bigger place. Or take a moment to visualize yourself standing next to this behemoth. Your head would be at roughly the level of its tusks. Or picture a group of woolly mammoths walking through the jungle. It would be like watching a herd of fully grown giraffes marching through tall grass. But hold on a second. Are these numbers accurate? I mean, where did they come from? Did someone actually weigh a woolly mammoth when it was alive, and then write down the number? No. In fact, paleontologists use various techniques to estimate the size of ancient creatures like the woolly mammoth. They study things like bone density, muscle structure, and overall body shape to reconstruct what the creature might have looked like when it was alive. They also compare these remains to the remains of similar animals that are still alive today. In the case of the woolly mammoths, paleontologists have been able to get pretty precise with their estimates. For example, by carefully examining the growth rings in mammoth tusks, researchers have been able to determine how fast the mammoths grew and how long they lived. By studying the chemistry of the different layers of tissue in the bones, scientists can tell if the mammoth had been through a period of rapid growth or if it was growing slowly due to environmental stress. All of this data helps paint a clearer picture of what woolly mammoths were like and gives us a better understanding of how they evolved over time. By understanding how mammoths grew and changed over their lifetimes, scientists hope to learn more about how they adapted to their environment and how they went extinct. While we may never know the exact weight of a woolly mammoth, the evidence suggests that they were truly massive animals that roamed the earth during the Ice Age. Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat. Moving on from the woolly mammoth, let's look at the saber-toothed tiger. Smilodon fatalis, more commonly known as the saber-toothed cat, was one of the largest and most fearsome predators to ever exist. With its incredibly sharp and long canine teeth, this cat was perfectly adapted for hunting large prey. The saber-toothed cat is part of the Felidae family, which includes all cats. However, it is extinct, and was only found in North and South America during the Pleistocene epoch. Its scientific name is Smilodon fatalis. Saber-toothed cats had a lifespan of around 20 years and reached sexual maturity at around 4 years old. They had a gestation period of around 90 to 110 days and gave birth to 1 to 3 cubs at a time. They had no natural enemies, but humans may have played a role in its extinction. The skull of the saber-toothed cat was notably narrow, which contrasts sharply with the robust skulls of modern-day big cats. Despite this, it still had relatively short and broad jaws compared to other felids. Its teeth were small and slender, except for the very long and very sharp canines. The length of these teeth varied depending on the subspecies, but they were used primarily for delivering a fatal bite to the throat of its prey. So how big was the saber-toothed cat? While the saber-toothed cat may not have been as tall as some other prehistoric beasts, such as the woolly mammoth, its height was impressive nonetheless. At around 4 feet tall at the shoulder, or around 1.2 meters if you prefer to measure in metric, it towered over most humans. And if you saw one walking towards you, you wouldn't be able to help but feel a sense of awe and fear. But the saber-toothed cat's real size came from its weight. It weighed somewhere between 440 pounds and 1 ton. It's a big cat, all right. It's hard to comprehend the sheer power of this creature. If you tried to hug a saber-toothed cat, it would feel like trying to wrap your arms around a fully grown polar bear. Imagine being chased by a saber-toothed cat through the jungle. The ground would shake with each of its powerful steps as it closed in on you. The sight of its long, sharp teeth glinting in the sunlight would be enough to send shivers down your spine. Or picture yourself standing next to a saber-toothed cat. You'd be dwarfed by its massive size and feel insignificant in the face of its raw power. You see, while there are no surviving specimens of the saber-toothed cat, paleontologists have been able to estimate its size by studying its skeletal remains, including its teeth and bones. By comparing these remains to those of modern-day cats, they've been able to get a good idea of what the saber-toothed cat looked like when it was alive. But wait a minute. You might be thinking, why do we care how big the saber-toothed cat was anyway? What difference does it make? Well, knowing the size of prehistoric animals like the saber-toothed cat can tell us a lot about their behavior and their environment. For example, the saber-toothed cat's size and weight would have affected how it moved, how it hunted, and how it interacted with other animals. It would have also needed to eat a lot of food to fuel its large body, which means that it was probably an efficient hunter. Saber-toothed cats likely hunted large mammals, and their size and strength would have made them formidable predators. By understanding the size of ancient creatures like the saber-toothed cat, we can learn more about how they lived and ultimately piece together the history of life on Earth. And that's the end of part 1. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and leave a like. We'll catch you in part 2.